Councillor Hazel Foster.
Please be seated. Good evening and welcome everyone to the adjourned council meeting. The purpose of this meeting is to deal with a number of major issues for the well-being of Torbay and best interests of the community. My role as Civic Mayor is to ensure that today's agenda is dealt with efficiently and to allow fairness throughout the discussions. As you are aware, the meeting is governed by strict procedures or standing orders, and I remind members to ensure your speeches are relevant to the matter under consideration. If members wish to make a point of order or personal explanation, please press your button and stand up, and I will take these after the councillor who is speaking has finished their speech. If members wish to leave the meeting before it is finished, please follow Standing Order A 25.7 and give your apologies before you leave via the Head of Governance Support. Please note that we are live streaming this meeting via the Council's YouTube channel to encourage more people to engage in our public meetings. The proceedings of the Council meetings will also be recorded. Please can attendees refrain from watching the live stream as this will cause interference for our viewers. We're not expecting any fire alarm testing today. In the event of evacuation, you will hear a recorded message requesting you to evacuate the building. Please leave by the nearest exit. The Riviera Centre will assist you. Once outside, please assemble in front of the tennis courts to the seaside side of the building. Please also ensure that all mobile phones and iPads are turned to silent. So, apologies. Is there any apologies for absence?
Madam Mayor, we've got apologies from Councillor George Darling, Councillor Douglas Dunbar, Councillor Verdi, Councillor Steve Darling, Councillor Twelves. I also have apologies from Councillor Harvey, Councillor Atia Allah, Councillor Hutchins, Councillor Nicolau, and I am advised that Councillor Billings has been delayed, unfortunately, in traffic and will be with us shortly. Otherwise, Madam Mayor, members are present.
Thank you. Have members any non-pecuniary or disclosable pecuniary interests in any of the matters on today's agenda? Have officers any personal interests in any of the matters on today's agenda? I propose that the minutes of the meeting held on the 26th of February 2026 to be signed as a correct record. Is there a seconder?
I second those, Madam Mayor.
All those in favour? Anyone against? Any abstentions? No, that's formally carried. So thank you. So I will move on to, as tonight we have some very distinguished guests here in our audience. So I am proud to celebrate the achievements of our talented local athletes through the Torbay on the Move Believe to Achieve programme, and welcome all the Believe to Achieve athletes present here at this evening, representing the very best of Torbay. Since 2021, the programme has supported 37 athletes, investing almost £60,000 to help them youngsters progress through the county, regional, national and international competition, ensuring financial barriers do not stand in the way of their success. We are proud to have athletes representing Great Britain, including Jacob Pydewell, Caper Paywall, Willow May Calland, Debbie Burnham, Gary Brenton and George Spenter, as well as world-level medalists training here in Torbay. Although she is unable to join us this evening, we also recognise the outstanding achievement of A.B. Martin, who represented Great Britain at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games at just 16 years of age. This is an exceptional accomplishment. I wish I could name you all, but to every athlete here tonight, we really are immensely proud of you. Your dedication, resilience, and achievements are an inspiration to us all. This success reflects not only the dedication of the athletes, but also the vital support of their families, coaches, and the wider network. The depth of supporting talent within Torbay is truly exceptional, and it is something we should all celebrate loudly and proudly. Tonight is about recognising excellence, celebrating ambition, and honouring every one of you for flying the Torbay flag, and I will repeat that, the Torbay flag with such pride. And I ask members to join me in recognising their achievements with a well-deserved round of applause. So thank you very much. We'll move on now to the main meeting. So has the Leader of the Council any announcements that he wishes to make?
Not this evening, Madam Mayor.
Has the Chief Executive any announcements that she wishes to make?
Madam Mayor, it is with great sadness that I need to advise the Council of the passing of a member of Council staff and a former a former councillor. So in respect of the member of staff, Sue Romford was a long-serving employee who worked within our youth justice team. She sadly passed away very shortly after being forced to leave the council on ill health grounds. She was a valued member of the youth justice team, working members with our most vulnerable children. Also sadly passing was Councillor Mike James, who passed away last month, members. He was a long-serving councillor on Torbay Council in the 1990s and into the 2000s. Our thoughts and prayers are with both Sue and Mike's family, friends and colleagues at this very sad time. And I would ask that you all join me in a minute's silence in respect of their memories. Thank you, members.
I now move on to item 5, the appointment of Overview and Scrutiny Coordinator and Scrutiny Lead members. Can Councillor David Thomas please put this motion to the Council?
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Mayor. And as I rise for the first time this evening, I'd like to take the opportunity of congratulating you in your new role. I'm sure that you'll do a superb job as the first citizen of Torbay. This item is very simple, really. It's about the appointment of the Overview and Scrutiny Coordinator and the Scrutiny Lead members. And as an administration, it's effectively allows us to offer these positions to the opposition to effectively hold us to account. Therefore, I move the recommendation, which is very simply that Councillor Long be appointed as the Overview and Scrutiny Coordinator for the 26-27 municipal year, and that the following councillors be appointed as the Overview and Scrutiny Leads for the same municipal year. And that will be Councillor Law as the Overview and Scrutiny Lead for Children's Services, Councillor Johns, Overview and Scrutiny Lead for Adults, Community Services, Public Health and Inequalities, Councillor Douglas Dunbar, Overview and Scrutiny Lead for Place Development, Economic Growth and Culture, and excuse me, finally, Councillor Cowell, Overview and Scrutiny Lead for Housing, Finance, Corporate and Place-Based Services. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Long.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and happy to second this proposal, which was, of course, brought into place following the Leaders' Agreement. Thank you very much.
Before I open debate, I confirm that in accordance with Standing Order A1.2 little I little x, that Councillors Long, Cowell, Douglas Dunbar, Johns and Law have all given their consent for their nominations. So I now invite debate. So I now come back to Councillor David Thomas. Do you wish to exercise your right of reply?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, I will move then to the vote. All those in favour? All... That's unanimous. Okay, we'll move on now to item number 5. Appointments to council committees, working parties and appointment of committee chairs and vice chairs for 2026 to 2027. Please refer to page 15 and revised Appendix 3 circulated on the 8th of May. So can Councillor David Thomas please put your motion to the council?
Thank you again, Madam Mayor. This is quite a straightforward proposal and includes recommendations 3.1 to 3.8, piece of work that we need to do every year, the appointments to the various committees. There are only a few changes. It's probably worth just going through those, which are effectively a change on the licensing committee, removing yourself now that, as chair, now that you are the mayor, and replacing you with Barbara Lewis. And most of the other appointments across the whole of the council remain exactly the same. Thank you.
Thank you. And is there a seconder? Councillor Long.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Happy to second and not reserve my right. Thank you.
Before I open debate, I can confirm that in accordance with Standing Order A1.2, little x, little e, those councillors nominated for chair and vice chair positions have given their consent for their nominations. So I now invite debate. So, Councillor David Thomas, do you wish to exercise? No. You say no, no. Okay, so we'll move straight on. We'll move on straight on to the vote. All those in favour? And that's unanimous again, so thank you very much. So can the leader of the Conservative group provide the names of his group's representatives to serve on each of the bodies in the report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I confirm that the Conservative group representatives for each of the bodies are as set out in the revised Appendix 3 to the report as circulated on the 8th of May this year.
So thank you very much. So can the leader of the Liberal Democrat group provide the names of his group's representatives to serve on each of the bodies in the report?
Thank you very much, and I confirm the Liberal Democrat group representatives for each of the bodies as set out in revised Appendix 3 to the report as circulated on 8th of May 2026. Thank you.
Thank you. And can the leader of the Independent group provide the names of his group's representatives to serve on each of the bodies in the report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I confirm the Independent group representatives for each of the bodies are as set out in revised Appendix 3 to the report as circulated on 8th of May 2026.
So thank you very much. We now move on to item 7, the composition and constitution of the Cabinet and record of delegations of executive functions. Please refer to page 51. This item is for noting and no vote is necessary. I now move on to item 8, which is members' questions. The questions and answers have been circulated and are noted as submitted. Members, these are available on your iPads under the late reports pack. I have accepted 2 urgent questions submitted by Councillor Long and Councillor Pentney. I will ask for any supplementary questions. For those members asking a supplementary question, it must arise directly out of the original question or the reply. I may remind members that supplementary questions shall not include a statement. I will be interrupting you if you consider your supplementary question is a statement. Please note there is a time limit of 1 minute to ask a supplementary question. The response time for each supplementary question is 3 minutes, and the overall maximum time for members' questions is 30 minutes. So, urgent question 1. Councillor Pentney, to the Cabinet Member for Place Development, Economic Growth, which is Councillor Lewis. So I refer to the urgent question and the action to address antisocial behaviour at the former Upton Bowling Club. Councillor Pentney, do you have a supplementary question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. And firstly, congratulations on your ascent to Mayor. And thanks to Councillor Chris Lewis for his response. It's a relief that the Bowls Club has been secured. I'm sure you'd agree with me that the most secure long-term solution to securing the sites and preventing further instances of ASB and whatnot would be to find a user who makes good use of the site. So my supplementary is, what steps are you undertaking to expedite an occupier who will make good use of that site?
Councillor Lewis.
First of all, like Councillor Pentney, I would like to congratulate you in your new role. Congratulations. I know that you're following on from a very good mayor before. Well, no. Sorry. Congratulations, Mayor. Let's leave it at that. Councillor Pentney, thank you very much for that. Obviously, we take the security of all buildings in the Bay very seriously, especially those owned by the council, such as Old Way or Ockham Farm. We are in discussions with the leaseholder of the previous bowling club, and I agree with you, the sooner that is opened up, as it should be, the better. So we are in negotiations, and we walk past it, or I walk past it every day when I park the car in the car park, and it needs to be fixed. and we'll do our best to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. I move on to urgent question 2, and I refer to the urgent question in respect of the withdrawal of transport to schools, Brixham College. Councillor Long, do you have a supplementary question?
With your permission, yes, please, Madam Mayor. My supplementary is, have the council considered offering any subsidy, perhaps initially through the budget outturn, or trying to encourage sponsorship from businesses to save these bus routes? Thank you.
Councillor Bye, please provide a response.
Thank you indeed, Madam Mayor, and I think we have a very comprehensive response in the question and answer session that indicates that our officers are working very closely with Brixham College to see if they can find a solution to the problem. I have offered to go and visit the college, and certainly I'm very broad-minded as to what form any solution takes. I'm waiting to hear from the college when I can visit. But in terms of providing finance to support a route, I think we would need to look fairly at all the offers that the various schools' transport arrangements have. We can't suddenly find money, I wouldn't suggest, for one. I'm aware in my inbox today that there's an issue with regard to a secondary school in Torquay that's facing challenges in terms of bus routes in the future. So absolutely it's on my agenda. I'll be very pleased to meet the school. Our officers are engaging with the school, as you can see from the answer, and we very much hope a solution is found. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on now to the questions. So I'll refer to the question in respect of new projects across Torbay, creating 1,200 permanent jobs and 41 million in wages. Councillor Cole, do you have a supplementary question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I'd like to add my congratulations to your nomination and successful appointment today. Yes, I do have a supplementary. I'd like to know, of the estimated jobs created, of the 1,232, how many are new and not jobs that have been relocated from existing properties, and how many of the 1,232 will actually be related to construction, and how many would be permanent jobs? If the Cabinet member would rather provide that answer in detail in writing, then I'll be quite happy. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Chris Lewis, please provide a response.
Thank you very much indeed, and thank you, Councillor Cowell. It's great news, isn't it? Jobs, new or old, and the amount of money and wages that are coming in. As you might imagine, Councillor Cowell, I don't have that information because it wasn't asked in the question, but I know someone who does know. I know someone who does know, and I will provide it to you in writing. Thank you very much.
That's all. Thank you. Move on to the next question. And I refer to the question in respect of when Paynton will have showing facilities that the homeless can use. I think that should be showering, should it? Yeah, showering facilities that the homeless can use. Councillor Carter, do you have a supplementary question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations. I don't have a supplementary, but I'm very happy to have that answer. I've been waiting a long time for an answer like that.
So can I... okay, so move on to the next question. I refer to the question in respect of when the closed entrance to Nightingale Park will be opened. So, Councillor Fox, do you have a supplementary question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and congratulations from me. It would be helpful to have some more precise information on when this defect will be rectified, because it's important, particularly for the female section of our community, to feel safe. Thank you.
So thank you. Councillor Billings, please provide a response.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I think, like everyone tonight, I'd like to join in congratulating you in your new role. Councillor Fox, I've tried to assist in the answer by referring to towards the end of May. I'm sure you and I can pick up with the officer team separate to this meeting and further particularise that to a specific date, if that would be a further assurance. But clearly some of these things may be subject to slight scheduling changes. So maybe we can get a little bit more clarity. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I refer to the question in respect of delays in processing business rates. So, Councillor Penny, do you have a supplementary question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I welcome you to your position as well. And I thank Councillor Tyman for the response. Councillor Tyman, I recognise what you say about the valuation agency. I recognise what you say about the mode being less than a day or less. Well done, the council. Well done, the team. However, the arithmetic mean has an average of 26, not 1 day, 26 days. If most of the data is at the end on the 1 day or less, 26 is a very high average. The difference with the average, the media is it's subject to extreme items. So therefore there must be extreme items at the higher end of the scale to make it a 26 average rather than a 1 day or less average. So I ask you please, could I have the reply to the question I first asked, which is the only bit you didn't reply to?
Councillor Penny, your 1 minute is up. I'll give you another 5 seconds.
28 days. If I could have that answer, please. Thank you.
Councillor Tyman, please provide a response.
Thank you very much. I think I will add my congratulations to you. I feel it's well down the pecking list for all the people who have spoken, but nevertheless, well done. In terms of answering, I think I would say that the mode, I'm thinking back to my mathematics days, the mode is the most frequently occurring. That doesn't mean to say most of them are there. And, you know, that means there are more resolved in 1 day than 2 days or 3 days or 4 days. It could still be quite a small proportion of the grand total that is resolved in 1 day. So I think mathematically, what you were saying is quite possible to occur. In terms of the long-dated ones, they are almost exclusively ones that are because of the valuation office, because those are in there. Interestingly, I got an email through from a resident only last week to complain to me about the fact that they had got an assessment from the valuation office that had been submitted in January of last year. And what's more, the submission they got came through very recently, had misinterpreted what they were given and was wrong and would have to be done again. The delays on the valuation office in some instances can be extreme. And with the
time when you've got 10 seconds left.
Okay, and that can do. In terms of the 28 days, I will try and get you a specific answer to that following the meeting.
Move on to the next question, and I refer to the question in respect of what is defined as the final mile, where Swissco prioritises their work. Councillor Law, do you have a supplementary question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, I don't.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. And this one is, I refer to the question in respect of the recruitment of a town centre manager. In the absence of Councillor Verdi, does Councillor Long have a supplementary question?
Yes, please, Madam Mayor, with your indulgence. The supplementary is, given that there was money put into the budget for the financial year 23-24, why is it taking so long? Thank you.
Councillor Lewis, please provide
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Mayor. The reason why it's taking so long is we want to recruit the right person. It's a vital job and an important job. We realise how important that job is, We thought we had the right person, but unfortunately it didn't happen. What I can assure Councillor Long is that the job that we see as the town centre manager is being done by other people with other officers within the council. So the role that they would be doing is in fact being done, spread across a number of officers. But it's not ideal, and we would like to recruit as soon as we can. I think we're going out for a re-recruitment very shortly, if not already done so. Thank you very much.
So thank you. Next, I refer to the question in respect of the rollout of electric car chargers in council car park. As Councillor Itia Allah is not here, Councillor Long, do you have a supplementary question? No. Move on to the next question. And this is, I refer to the question in respect of details for the option to buy in the future housing schemes for young people. Councillor Harvey is not here, so in the absence, would Councillor Long, do you have a question? No, we'll move on. I'll refer to the question in respect of measures to tackle antisocial behaviour at Beacon Cove. Councillor Mandy Darling, do you have a supplementary question?
No, Madam Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next one. I refer to the question in respect of publication of risk assessments for bathing water beaches across Torbay. As Councillor Steve Darling is not here, Councillor Long, do you have a supplementary question? No. Next question, I refer to the question in respect of how the council marked LGBTQ plus History Month. Councillor Long, do you have a supplementary question?
Yes, please, Madam Mayor. I was just going to ask whether the Cabinet member recognises that marking LGBTQ plus History Month and other significant occasions for minority groups can be done in a very small way without much organisation or financial contribution, if any, and by doing so can make those communities feel more valued. Thank you.
Councillor Jackie Thomas, do you please provide a response?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, Councillor Long, we do, mark as many events as we possibly can, and we bring awareness to as many different groups as we can. If there is anything that perhaps you have some suggestions with as to help us to mark some of those events, then please email me, and I'm always happy to look at them. Thank you.
So thank you. Next question. I refer to the question in respect of bringing forward a rail perspective as part of the local transport plan. As Councillor Atia Allah is not here, Councillor Long? No. Okay, move on to the next question. I refer to the question in respect of increased frequency of street cleansing in the Melville area. Councillor Mandy Darling, do you have a supplementary question?
Yes, I do, Madam Mayor. Thank you very much. May I extend my congratulations too. Thank you to the councillor for the response. Can I just ask, in that response, just a simple question, will the Melville area be getting additional street cleansing as has been requested on a number of occasions due to the higher levels of fly tipping and rubbish that's left in that area, and the residents are doing their very best to bring the area up to a standard that they wish? Just a simple, yes or no, or when. Thank you.
Councillor Billings, please provide a response.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm delighted to reiterate, as per the answer, the Melville area already does get additional street cleaning to recognise the importance of that area and also its proximity to the town centre and some of the issues that arise from that. So hopefully that provides the reassurance the councillor asked. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So thank you. Next question. I refer to the question in respect of Section 106 monies for the Willows Estate in Torquay. As Councillor Steve Darling is not here, Councillor Long, no additional. Move on to next question. I refer to the question in respect of a recent planning permission for the Indigo Hotel not being decided at a committee meeting. Councillor Pentney, do you have a supplementary question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you to Councillor Brooks for your answer. I was just wondering, in the future, given the sensitivity around this particular site, as committee chair, would you commit to any comparable planning altercations that might take place in respect to this site? Would you commit now for them to come to planning committee to be decided by elected members?
Councillor Brooke, please provide a response.
Thank you very much, and congratulations, Madam Mayor, in your appointment. Thank you very much, Nick, for coming back on this. You've seen the reply on this particular one, and when that decision was made, myself and Councillor Fox actually discussed the item to see what should be done, and we thought it was prudent, because we wouldn't have any data coming to a committee now, that we would let the condition go for that period of time, and then the data can come back and we could assess it. And I think that would be the same case for any application. That's what we would do. So in answer to your specific question, for this particular case, it will come to the committee once I've had we'll have the data, and then decide whether it will remain a condition that's removed permanently, or whether it will go back to what it was originally. So hopefully that answers your question.
So thank you. Next question. I refer to the question in respect of lack of response for permission from the council for fences in Grasmere Close, Torquay. Councillor Long, do you have a supplementary question?
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Yes, please. Thank you for the response. Sanctuary Housing are adamant that they have approached the council and in the absence of a response have okayed the outside fence. In light of this, will the Cabinet member ask the council officers to reach out to Sanctuary to try to resolve matters? Thank you.
Councillor Chris Lewis, please provide a response.
Thank you very much indeed, Councillor Long. Can I switch it round, and can I ask Sanctuary to send the copies of the emails or the contact they've had with the council to the senior officer? We can talk about it outside of this meeting if you wish. But I think that would be easier, because it would be the person who's actually asked the question who we can then respond to. Problem is, if we have an officer going into Sanctuary, it might be the wrong person. So to be helpful, I think it would be better if the person who originally contacted either planning or the estates team contacts us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next question. I refer to the question in respect of changes around the payment of council tax. As Councillor Steve Darling is not here, Councillor Long, do you have a supplementary? I refer to the question in respect of the timeline for the review into the fire at the Sherwood Hotel on Belgrave Road. Councillor Mandy Darling, do you have a supplementary question?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Next question. Please note that the question regarding potential risk to government grant for land at Edgenswell if the area becomes a car park for the hospital has been withdrawn by Councillor Long to enable him to ask urgent question 2 within his 3-question limit. Okay. Move on to the next one, and that is the end. So well done. We got them all done within 30 minutes. So move on now to item 9, which is a notice of motion. Objection to the current policy framework, corporate asset management plan. Please refer to page 61. Would Councillor Cowell put his motion to the council as attached to the agenda, notice of which was given in accordance with Standing Order A13.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And this came to light as a result of some of the debates around the designation of employment land at Edgeonswell, and it could equally apply elsewhere. So it's not specifically about that particular site. The local plan and the neighbourhood plans constitute part of our policy framework documents. They are owned by this body. They are owned by this council. The effect of what happened with the land at Edgeonswell was that the consequences had a direct impact on a policy framework document, which the Cabinet chose to implement. That actually gives the Cabinet the opportunity and effectively a set of precedents that they could actually override the local plans or neighbourhood plans. That is inappropriate. It could also apply to many of the other policy framework documents that could emerge in the future, but it's this specific issue that we are asking the Cabinet to consider, not make a decision tonight, but we're asking the Cabinet to consider the revisions that are necessary to ensure that we don't have a situation of a Cabinet today or in the future, assuming Torbay still survives, which we hope it does, could actually undermine the weight and gravitas and importance of our local and neighbourhood plans, especially those neighbourhood plans that were adopted at referendum by the people of Torbay, and hopefully will be again in the near future. So all we're asking for is the Cabinet to consider the situation that arose, and as stated in this motion tonight, I do understand that having reached out to the leader of the council today to see whether there is support, that unfortunately it's likely that this motion will fall, which I think is a great shame given the consideration that the council should be the sovereign body when it comes to our policy framework documents. So I move, Madam Mayor.
Is there a seconder?
Yes, please, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Councillor Long.
And I would like to reserve my rights on this occasion, if I may. Thank you.
Right, thank you. So I now invite debate. Councillor Tyman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I find this motion somewhat strange. The current arrangements that exist in Torbay Council were set by constitution made at the close of having a mayoral system. They were passed by this council, who obviously thought that they were at the time right, and I think they are right, because what they are doing is allowing the executive in the council to proceed to take decisions, to take things forward without delay, without undue delay, in line with, in this case, the intention for that land. That land has been put forward to be used as employment land. That is the deal that's been done in selling it. There are conditions on the sale document that require that. There are conditions on the sale document that say if for any reason that didn't happen, the council can take the land back to ensure it is maintained exactly as it was intended. Yes, the hospital have said that in the short term, while they develop their detailed plans, take it through planning, it would be exceedingly helpful to them, and they intend to use it as a car park. We think that that has been totally misinterpreted by certain people who feel that that's the long-term objective. It really isn't the long-term objective. We've been assured that by the hospital. We've put conditions in there to make sure that isn't the case. frankly, I think you're trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist.
Councillor Timing, can I remind you, the debate is about the policy of the framework, not specific to the area of land you're referring to.
Thank you. I'll take that on board, though the specific piece was quoted as being the reason why this had been triggered and brought forward. So I think, some reference to it is not unreasonable. In terms of going forward, I just see that we do not want to put obstacles in front of a slick administration going forward, whether that be this administration now, a future administration, might be yourselves, it might be some completely different party, it could be, we don't know what it's going to be. I feel that the arrangement now is right for whoever is in control in Torbay Council. They've been given that authority as long as they act within the policy framework, and I believe that's happening. I'm not sure what this is trying to achieve. You say you want it to be the Cabinet to consider. Well, knowing it's coming, Cabinet have already considered. That in a sense, if we decide tonight to send it back to Cabinet decision, it's been discussed. We've looked at it collectively. We think what we're doing is in the best interest of Torbay Council under whatever administration exists. Therefore, I do not support this, I'm afraid.
Councillor Thomas.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And yes, I did confirm earlier to Councillor Cowell that we would not be supporting this particular motion this evening. As Councillor Timon has already said, the Cabinet have already discussed it at some length. There is a concern that somehow Council is or will not be the sovereign body. And the Council is and remains, as always, the sovereign body. It is the Council that puts the Constitution into place. We have a model Constitution in place. I'll not talk about the specific land matter that was raised, because clearly we'll talk about the policy framework, but I think what we have is something that is actually showing it's working in this administration, and actually I believe that for the 4 years previously, it obviously clearly wasn't an issue over those 4 years. So rather than drag this out any further, we will not be supporting. Thank you.
So thank you. If there's no more for debate, Councillor Long, it comes down to yourself.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. And your ruling earlier was excellent, and despite that, we seem to have spent quite a long time talking about a certain piece of land, even though it wasn't about that. All I will say, despite not wanting to go down a rabbit hole, it does seem odd for a car park to be deemed as employment land, but I'll just leave that there. I'm disappointed by the response, as it smacks of control freakery by an administration who want to keep power to themselves rather than engage wider and take a more inclusive approach. An inclusive approach need not slow things down. It doesn't need to do that, but it might actually lead to better decisions. And I think the point we're trying to make is that a council on these matters should be sovereign. And I'm sorry that the administration don't agree. And I'm sure that if we are in administration in future, they will change it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cowell, do you wish to exercise your right of reply?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And yes, I mean, there's not a lot to respond to, really. But, I mean, the comments have been made that it's this council that adopted the Constitution after we abolished the elected mayor and returned to the system that we currently have. Well, that Constitution has been amended and has morphed over those years. It hasn't been set in stone, and therefore it's opportune to, when you identify a weakness in any element of the Constitution, you look at how you can better improve it. The fact is that the current process now allows a cabinet to actually override policy framework documents. The precedent has been set, and it's a dangerous one. As you say, it may not be any of us sat in this room or whatever the room may look like in next year or a couple of years' time. We could have a huge number of new elected members representing us here in Torbay. This precedent actually allows the cabinet to be making some fundamental decisions that should otherwise be exercised by full council. Now, I didn't write that amendment, you'd be surprised to hear, because whilst I have some understanding of our constitution, it was written with the support and of senior officers. So it's not on a whim, it's not some kind of gerrymandering, it's a genuine attempt to tidy up an area of our constitution. The reason the process was rushed, in my opinion, is because there was an 11th hour deadline that had to be met, and it didn't meet the normal democratic cycle of a cabinet making a recommendation to full council. That is another dangerous precedent. What I find regrettable is that obviously the cabinet have had extensive conversations about this technical amendment, and we actually weren't consulted about it. No one had a conversation. No one picked up the phone and said, look, let's talk about this amendment. What's at the root of the issue? We have mechanisms to enable us to do that. So it's regrettable that once that motion was tabled and we shared it early, that there was no follow-up conversations. And people ask why we didn't exercise that during the 4 years of the partnership administration. Quite simple. We didn't rush any decisions. We actually went through due process, and we didn't put ourselves in a position of being virtually blackmailed to make decisions. So I find it sad that this sovereign body is actually giving away some of its powers. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So thank you. So we now move to the vote. All those in favour? All, have you counted them? Yep. All those against? Yeah. So that is then lost. So thank you. So moving on to the next item, item number 10, the redevelopment of former Crossway Shopping Centre, Paynton, for the delivery of extra care housing. Please refer to page 63. So can Councillor Lewis please put the Cabinet's motion to the Council?
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Mayor. Thank you. I'm very happy to put this motion to the Council, the redevelopment of Crossway Shopping Centre for the delivery of extra care homes. In fact, this takes me back well over 15 years ago when I had my current portfolio, and Crossways was then not completely derelict, but certainly not fit for purpose, and it came up for sale. And we put a bid in, and unfortunately we were not successful by, from memory, I think it was about 100,000 we were short. What a shame that we didn't get it then and redevelop it 15 years ago. But I must give credit to the past administration for the work that they did and that they compulsory purchased it, which is what we should have done over the last 15 years. So well done to them for doing it. They did have a scheme that put forward. Unfortunately, that scheme did not work. It was not financially viable for a number of reasons. We had COVID, we had other reasons where the figures just didn't stack up. So we've been working very hard with officers, and I would like to give credit to our partnership, Wilmot Dixon Milligan, and our senior officers who've been working nearly night and day to find a solution and a way forward for Crossways. That, I think, we have now done. We've found a solution which will stack up of 91 units of extra care, and this will be massively helpful for our adult services, especially now that we have problems with the ICO. It is really needed to be able to help those most in need. And also the daycare centre at Holcombe, the daycare centre which is in my ward of Preston, which has become tired and really not fit for purpose, not fit for those people who go there. So that will also be transferred to Crossways. By developing Crossways, we will have a really fit for purpose for care home, extra care home, and for Holcombe. It will be up to date, modern, and will be good for all those people who take advantage of it. The total budget, we put a maximum of 54 million, as one can see from the report, and we are asking for up to 16.3 million of prudential borrowing. We are determined to make this happen. For too long, Crossways has been a blot on the landscape, and I think cross-party, we can all see that. We promise to deliver, and we will. It's good for those most in need. It's good for the economy of Paignton. And above all, it's good for the adult care service who are desperately in need of this service. I hope that we will get cross-party support, and I would like to recommend approval of the recommendation 3.1. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And is there a seconder? Councillor Tranter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Congratulations on your appointment. And I'd like to apologise. I've been in denial for a while of needing reading glasses, and it appears to be catching up with me this evening. So I'd like to bring a bit more of a personal element to this. So I'm delighted to second Crossways Extra Care Housing and Learning Disability Resource Centre. The development will deliver 91 1- and 2-bed apartments specially designed for older people and people with disabilities. This will mean an 85% increase in the local authority's supply of very sheltered housing with on-site care and support. The development will be 100% social housing for people with assessed care needs and a local connection to Torbay. Like all extra care housing, Crossways will have additional communal facilities such as a cafe, while still encouraging people to take part in the wider community in Paignton. It will also provide 50 daycare placements for adults with profound and multiple learning disabilities in a modern, purpose-built environment. This will replace the no longer fit-for-purpose Holcombe Centre in Preston and increase capacity by 35% to meet projected future demand for young people transitioning to adulthood. The service provides critically important replacement care for families providing care at home for adults with complex needs. Currently, 26% of Torbay's population is over 65, compared to just 19% in England as a whole. By 2042, the Office of National Statistics estimates that 1/3 of the population of Torbay will be over state retirement age, increasing the economic and social impact on the council of long-term health conditions such as dementia. At the same time, the number of people with complex learning and physical disabilities will have increased significantly. Torbay historically places higher percentage of working adults in high-cost, low-outcome, long-term care than other English local authorities. This pressure requires Torbay commissioners to find more effective ways to divert people away from less enabling and more expensive services like residential care. Purpose-designed, accessible, supported social housing with on-site care at Crossways, alongside a state-of-the-art learning disability resource centre, will be absolutely key to this work. Extra care housing also supports huge improvements in life outcomes. Modern town centre supported housing schemes like Crossways are essential in keeping older people and people with disabilities living independently within the heart of their local community. This is a core element of the Council's social care strategy and an important part of our duties under the Care Act 2014, but most importantly makes a significant contribution to supporting Torbay to be a healthy, happy and prosperous place for its most advantaged citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. I now invite debate. Councillor Long.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. And to Councillor Tranter, I'd just like to say that I have, in the last year, given in to reading glasses and a spare pair of varifocals, which have been a revelation. So I would go for it. In the final year of their term, it is good to see that the Conservative administration are finally starting to progress one of the projects that they have inherited from the previous Liberal Democrat and Independent administrations. So the opposition will be supportive. And the relocation of Holcombe is incredibly good news, and it's been on the radar for a very long time. And the extra care accommodation is very much to be welcomed and will ensure people don't have to go into residential care before they need to. So it'll be better for them and cheaper for the council. Of course, the original scheme did have some general needs social housing that is no longer part of the scheme. And it is unfortunate that one of the capital receipts funding this scheme is Preston Down Road, where there was a 50% social housing element, which would have been providing much needed affordable housing by now, but this is no longer going to be delivered. So in essence, much needed general needed housing, social housing, has been abandoned in the scrabble around for funds in order to get Crossways over the line. As the report makes clear, Crossways will only deliver some of the extra care housing needed. The Council has committed in this report to delivering 2 extra care schemes totalling 200 units by 2030. This report only identifies one scheme, which is Crossways, which will deliver 91. There was a really interesting discussion at Cabinet on Tuesday this week on this item about Tourmarine. There was a proposal under the last administration and a planning application delivered for an extra care scheme at Tourmarine. This scheme is not mentioned in relation to delivering extra care homes in the future, and I was concerned that it did not feature in the housing needs assessment nor the Torquay vision. Both documents were designed, I understand, to encourage developers to bring forward specific accommodation. And I also understand that our consultants, Wilmot Dixon, have done very little work on Tourmarine, and I'm basing that on information obtained by Councillor Cowell. So I was very surprised, pleased to hear the Leader of the Council at Cabinet saying that work was being done on Tourmarine, which seemed to be news to the Cabinet Member for Housing at the Cabinet meeting. And the reason I'm confused is because there is no mention in any of the documents I have referenced, and that is contrary to briefings I've received from officers. So I'm unclear as to whether Tourmarine's being developed or not. So maybe an update on that would be useful. And just so I can make one political point, this administration promised to deliver, and even Crossways, I fear, will not be delivered by the time the term of this administration ends, sadly. Many thanks.
Thank you, and apologies to Councillor Fox, as Shadow Cabinet Member. I should have called you first. Councillor Fox.
I accept the apologies. Problem there. I am broadly in support of the Crossways scheme. We must not take our eyes off the enormous housing needs that we have, including extra special and serious housing needs that this scheme will address. The only regret from my point of view on this is that we initially had a porous layout going through, which I felt would have benefited the area, but I understand on police advice that we're not going for that, and I think that's not ideal, but I broadly support the scheme. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Cowell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and well done to Councillor Tranter for being able to labour through a very detailed seconding without any glasses. Unlike Councillor Long, I have taken delivery of some new varifocals and they're rubbish. So, yeah, clearly absolutely support the necessary borrowing to get this scheme over the line. Crossways has been a blight on Paignton's landscape for far, far too long. And I appreciate the recognition from the Deputy Leader of the Council that the previous administration managed to set the ball rolling by a very complex and lengthy CPO. It's right that the scheme that we put forward, there were indeed significant funding challenges in terms of being able to make the business case add up because of spiralling costs. And I applaud the fact that we have managed to get a business case together, heavily dependent on Homes England grant. And that is the one missing part of the jigsaw at the moment, but I think there is confidence in the room that that will be delivered, the grant of circa £15 million, without which the scheme is dead. To get this scheme over the line, we are throwing the kitchen sink at the Crossways redevelopment for the right reasons. The benefit of a new care centre to replace the ageing Holocombe Centre and the freeing up of that site to be able to sell it to contribute to the costs of Crossways is a real benefit. And of course the 91 social rented homes for Torbay people or people with a Torbay connection is a step forward. But I endorse other comments from Councillor Long and elsewhere about the need to address our normal social housing provision as well. The other benefit, of course, from this scheme isn't just the fact we're going to remove a blight in Paignton, but it's the longer-term impact that it will have on the adult social care budget, because it means that we won't have to be relying on expensive care homes for people when, in actual fact, they can still survive and cope with independent living but supported. That will have a significant impact, and at a time that we're having to really scrutinise our adult social care provision after the loss of the integrated care organisation, it really doubles the focus on delivery. Just a word that I am being reassured that the delivery of the contract will ensure that the timeframes should be maintained and any cost overruns would be the responsibility of the developer, subject to force majeure. So I am happy to support this tonight, and let's hope, as Councillor Long has indicated, that we can also move forward on Tourmarine, and I would endorse the request to have a more up-to-date briefing on that particular adult social care scheme. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Bye.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I am really at heart a Paignton boy. I can remember Crossways being built. I was very pleased to see Crossways demolished, and now I hope to be around long enough to see this scheme go to fruition. The reason I'm making a little quick contribution to this discussion, a point that was raised at Cabinet, a point that has been raised twice this evening by colleagues, the whole point of accommodation for older people, social rented accommodation, supported accommodation of this nature for older people, is almost inevitably it will free up a significant number of family homes where older people are currently living. So we're doing this at St Kilda's, and there's great hope that as people move into St Kilda's, that will free up more family homes in Brixham, and this, as older people move into the new Crossways facility, almost certainly will free up a significant number. So we are doing our bit for general social housing in the Bay by freeing up accommodation as residents there move into these new developments. So I'm looking forward to it going forward, and I very much hope that we get the funding from Homes England. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll move on. Councillor Lewis, do you wish to exercise your right of reply?
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Mayor. I do indeed. Councillor Long, Tor Marine, we're trying to find a solution. It is difficult. It's like Crossways. You know, we're trying to get the money in place, and until such time as we do, we won't be bringing it to this council or to the cabinet for approval, because we think it's important to have those finances. Certainly, you know, we talked about Homes England grant, Councillor Cowell, that is so important. So we are talking to people. If you want an update on these, we've got a regeneration capital working party next week. So I'm sure if you write into the chairman, he will make sure it's on the agenda, and the officer will be able to come forward with it. You say, Councillor Long, that we're not delivering. I don't know if you've driven past the Paynton seafront recently. We're working on the flood defence. We're working on Crossways, it's been talking about, Victoria Square, Paynton Gateway, Old Way for the first time. We've got scaffolding, we're in there, we're working on it. The Picture House, and I could go on, but that's only Paynton. There's an awful lot going on and a lot of money being spent. So we will deliver. They may not all be built, but they'll be in the stages of being built and delivered. Our promise to the electorate out there was that we would deliver, and we are delivering. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Right, thank you. We're just going to move to the vote, but before then I would like to remind that members that there's been a number of times this evening during that particular debate, which was about Crossways, that other developments was mentioned. So it's just to try and encourage everybody to stick to the topic of what the debate is about. Okay, so I move on to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimous. That is unanimous, so thank you very much. We'll move on then to the next item, which is item number 11, Gillard Road, Brixham, Public Path Creation Order. Please refer to page 109, and can Councillor Chris Lewis please put the Cabinet's motion to the Council?
Thank you very much indeed, Madam Mayor. I'm not sure whether you were talking about off subject, but I would like to say I buy my glasses from the pound shop. They have doubled in price from £1 to £2.50. Gillard Road, Brixham.
That's why he's not in charge of finance.
Yeah. Public Path Creation Order. First of all, I'd like to say there's a map on the agenda in your papers. The original map is the one I'd like to refer to, not the second one with the spurs off it. It is the original map which we're going to discuss tonight at Council. Gillard Road, used by a lot of the community. They've been in touch with us and they spoke about a pathway. At the moment, that pathway, which has been used quite a lot, is a permissive path. This means that at any time, the landowner, at their wish, can block that pathway so that it can't be used by the community. We have listened to that community, and that's why this paper comes for the decision to turn the path into a public right-of-way, commonly known as a PRO, P-R-O-W. A PRO, once established, provides a permanent right-of-way that is very difficult for the landowner to change from a PRO back to a permissive. Therefore, it is important that we all agree, Councillor Long is laughing, it's my expertise now, pathways. By securing that public right-of-way, rather than relying on a permissive path, while safeguarding access not just for today, but for future generations. We're ensuring that that route remains open, accessible, and protected as part of the community's infrastructure. In supporting this order, we're not simply approving a path, we are securing a permanent asset for the community. We are choosing certainty over uncertainty and long-term value over short-term convenience. I hope that on this we will get cross-party, and I would recommend 3.1 and 3.2 will be approved. Many thanks, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for that. Is there a seconder? Councillor Tolchard.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I'll speak now if I may. I'm very pleased to second the proposal to designate the footpath running alongside Gillard Road in Brixham as a public right-of-way. Following the demise of the Torbay Coast and Countryside Trust, my fellow ward councillor Steve Bryant and I, along with Brixham Town Council, were very anxious that the footpath should be retained for public use. We received many representations from a large number of residents who were concerned about the future of that particular footpath. The footpath was developed as part of the planning consent for the housing development off Wall Park Road a few years ago now, alongside the nature reserve. And it's now become an established route, walking route, and a safe walking route, running along from Century Road all the way along to the far end of Heritage Way, and it also links up with the footpath across the road, enabling people to walk along to Bury Head safely. Gillard Road is quite narrow in parts, and the implementation of that particular footpath allows people to walk safely and away from the road. Indeed, I shouldn't declare an interest really. I walk along it 4 or 5 times a week, probably in one direction or another. But as Councillor Lewis has explained, designating the footpath as a public right-of-way will ensure that access will be preserved into the future. And I would like to urge you all to vote in favour of this proposal, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now invite debate. Councillor Fox, as Shadow Cabinet Member.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's not really directly come to the fore in this report, but this proposal is actually really important in relation to the conservation of the SAC at Bury Head, which is a fundamental tenet of the local plan. So I would say there are important planning arguments as well, which reinforces all that's already been said. Thank you.
Councillor Long.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. And at the risk of jinxing things, there will be cross-party support for this item, which I hope will be good news. I just wanted to explain that the reason I was laughing at to myself at Councillor Lewis's very detailed explanation was more at the thoughts going through my head as his explanation was going through. I won't say what those thoughts were because I fear that I might get the wrath of the monitoring officer, so I won't go down that route. I think there's probably been enough of that. And it's just such a pity that this debate's been caused by the demise of the Coast and Countryside Trust, but that's a debate for another time rather than now, otherwise I'll incur your wrath, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no more for debate, Councillor Lewis, do you wish to exercise your right of reply?
I do. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. And I'm delighted that Councillor Long will follow my path and we will all vote for this cross-party. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I move to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. That is unanimous. Let's move on now to item 12. Torbay Joint Health and Wellbeing Strategy, post-consultation report. So please refer to page 125 and revised appendix published on the 11th of May 2026. So Councillor Tranter, can you please put the Cabinet's motion to the Council?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Unfortunately, this writing's even smaller. Can I give them a go?
Chris the optician.
Oh my lord! No, thank you. I am, I am proposing Council approve that the Our Healthy Neighbourhoods Torbay Joint Health and Wellbeing Strategy 2026 to 2030 be approved as a policy framework document of Torbay Council. The Joint Health and Wellbeing Strategy is one of the key documents which health and wellbeing boards are required to produce. The vision of the strategy is around healthy neighbourhoods with a focus on delivering prevention in place. The strategy is built on tackling the needs and risks to population health highlighted in the Joint Strategic Needs Assessment. The Joint Health and Wellbeing Strategy should address the needs and inequalities identified in the JSNA, set out some key strategic priorities, inform local commissioning, promote integration between health and care, as well as other local authority areas such as housing, transport, economy and environment. The Health and Wellbeing Strategy highlights activities for all partners in Torbay to address the key challenges identified in the 2025 JSNA. These cover economy, housing and inequalities, children and young people, working age adults, older adults and health behaviours. The Year 1 priorities are healthy spaces for children and young people, healthy work for working age adults, healthy ageing for older adults. Impact will be measured in two ways: an annual review of the overall progress against public health outcomes via the Joint Strategic Needs Assessment and the Public Health Outcomes Framework, plus in-year reporting of progress against the annual priority areas by programme leads. The public consultation ran from the 19th of January to the 8th of February 26. The briefing paper describes consultation activities and summarises the responses received. There were 112 responses, including some group responses, for example, from the Stroke Support Group. Responses were overall supportive of the vision and priority areas and particularly highlighted the importance of demonstrating impact. Again, I am proposing the Council approve the Our Healthy Neighbourhoods Torbay Joint Health and Wellbeing Strategy 2026 to 2030 as a policy framework document of Torbay Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Thomas.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm delighted to second this proposal. As we know, this strategy has not appeared overnight. A significant amount of work has gone into getting us to this point with the Health and Wellbeing Board, partners, the NHS, voluntary and community organisations, council teams and, more importantly, residents, all helping to shape what is before us today. There was a genuine effort to engage people properly. This was not simply a consultation placed quietly on a website and forgotten about. There was direct engagement through libraries, community hubs, support groups, women's groups, paper services, social media, newsletters, the list goes on, even including a video encouraging residents to take part. And what did people who got involved, what did they tell us? Well, quite clearly, they support the direction of travel. And when you combine the figures in the paper, for those who strongly agree and those who tend to agree, the support is clearly outstanding. Overall vision of healthy neighbourhoods, 96 out of 110 responses, around 87%. Healthy spaces, 81%. Healthy work, 83%. And healthy ageing, around 86% support. And these are strong figures by any standard. But residents also challenged us on delivery, on access to services, and on making sure that this strategy leads to visible outcomes rather than warm words. Frankly, that makes the strategy stronger, not weaker. What I particularly welcome is that this is not a narrow NHS document. It recognises something we all know to be true. Health is shaped not just by hospitals and GP surgeries, but by housing, by employment, by transport, safe communities, prevention, and of course tackling inequalities. And all of that matters in Torbay. We have an older population. We have some stark inequalities between communities, and too many people experience poorer health simply because of where they live. Doing nothing is not an option. So this is not just a strategy document, it's a shared commitment to work differently, work together, and focus on prevention rather than always dealing with the crisis after that event. And for those reasons, Madam Mayor, I am very happy to second this proposal.
So thank you. I now invite debate. Councillor Bye.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I want to say a big thank you to all those and our partners, as well as the council team who've put this together. A tremendous amount of engagement with our communities. But as lead member for Children's Services, particularly delighted to see that priority number one is healthy spaces for children and young people. That fits absolutely with our aspiration to be a UNICEF child-friendly place, endorsed at the Cabinet with a new way of achieving that on Tuesday evening, and absolutely fits in with what we're doing with our play park strategy and the renewal of the play places for children and youngsters in the Bay. So we've identified the needs of inequalities in opportunity, physical ill health, low activity levels, poor diet, home or school insecurity, educational underachievement and unreadiness for work. And there are listed a number of initiatives, interventions that will address those very important issues. And at the bottom, explain very clearly how we're working with partners, for example, Play Torbay. So this is an excellent document. I'm hugely pleased that we've got children and young people as priority number one, and I very much hope that we can make this all happen. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no more for the debate, Councillor Tranter, do you wish to exercise your right of reply?
No, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. So we move on then to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you, everyone. That is unanimous. Move on then to item 13, which is the Code of Corporate Governance, Constitution Amendments. Please refer to page 173. Can Councillor Jackie Thomas please put a motion to the Council?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Excuse me. In order to ensure that the Code of Corporate Governance is up to date and fit for purpose and reflects best practice, it has been updated to reflect the core principles of good governance highlighted by the Chartered Institute of Public Finance and Accountability Guidance, delivering good governance in local government framework. The revised document is set out in Appendix 1 to the submitted report with the key changes shown in green text. So, Madam Mayor, I propose that the revised Code of Corporate Governance to be approved and that the Constitution to be updated accordingly. Thank you.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Long.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. And this item came to our leaders' meeting first, and I asked for a bit more, some changes to, I think, mostly phraseology, and I would like to thank Mr. Fairclough Kay for facilitating a meeting between him and myself and Councillor Cowell just to iron those out. So those have been ironed out, and so happy to second. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I now invite debate. So, Councillor Jackie Thomas, do you wish to exercise your right to reply?
I think I'm happy to go to the vote. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to the vote. All those in favour? And that's unanimous again, so thank you very much. Move now to item 14, which is the Overview and Scrutiny Annual Report 2025-2026. Please refer to page 191. And so would Councillor Long please present the report?
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. And it's been a very busy year, and the forthcoming year also looks very busy on overview and scrutiny. On the main board, I'm pleased to see that members are driving the items on the agenda. Examples of that are reports that are coming to the board on the TDA being brought back in and council tax premium, subjects that members have requested. Some highlights from the year are, I think for the second year in a row, budget recommendations have been kindly incorporated by the administration from the board. South West Water, there have been some very detailed questioning, including by yourself, Madam Mayor, of South West Water. And there's been an increase in the number of call-ins, but not too much. I think there have been 3, and I think they have all been very positive and resulted in very kind of positive outcomes. On the Adults and Social Care Board, I'd like to pay tribute to Councillor Kat Johns for her chairing of that board. And that board has held the NHS to account, particularly over the cardiac issue and Section 75. And it's seen, those meetings saw that very rare beast, Madam Mayor, of the leader of the council and the leader of the opposition working together. And a huge number of items on adults as well. And I'd also like to pay tribute to Councillor Law for her work on children's ONS, particularly her encyclopedic knowledge of that work. And I'd like to highlight the work with sound communities and children's safeguarding that she's been involved with and that board has been involved with. I know that she is going to miss the Deputy Mayor as her Vice Chair on that board. But I'm sure there'll be someone equally good there as well. I would like to say something which I'm sure will have cross-party support across the chamber, which is I would like to particularly pay tribute to Teresa Buckley and her incredibly hard work, and she is highly respected across the chamber. So if that could be passed on to her, that would be brilliant. And I'd also like to thank Lorraine Rules for her much valued input, as well as I know she's starting to take on a bit more. And I know that colleagues would like to see more resource being put into the scrutiny function to help avoid burnout of the staff on that. And on that note, Madam Mayor, I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
So thank you very much. So this item is for noting and no vote is necessary. Move on then to item 15, which is the Audit Committee Annual Report 2025-2026. Please refer to page 211. Would Councillor Penny please present the report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's with great pleasure and no jingle jangling this year, I present the second annual Audit Committee report to full council. I'll start with the bottom line. Let's get to the important bit first. Internal audit's overall opinion for 24-25, reasonable. A word not plucked from the air. Defined as corporately sound, yet with some detailed matters in need of further work and improvement. I'll return to this phrase in a moment. External audit. Grant Thornton again issued a disclaimer opinion. Again, under normal circumstances, a serious matter. However, this results from the national backlog as discussed last year. Not to go into all of that again. I am verbally assured the finance team and Grant Thornton in the future are on planned schedule currently, subject to any unforeseen circumstances. This will likely include, unfortunately, a further disclaimer. However, the purpose behind this is to almost virtually ensure, but not quite, of course, a full opinion for the 26-27 audit. This is a plan agreed with our Section 151 officer and Grant Thornton. And thirdly, the annual governance statement. After a few committee amendments, external audit accepted that the governance statement reflected their statement of account findings. That's all they're required to do. They're not required to audit it, just that it reflects what they have found in their work, and it does. And so to sum that up, we have no material concerns corporately, and are actively addressing those more specific matters raised. And that leads me back to the phrase, in further need of work and improvement. There are still some in Torbay, not many,
who consider that audit remains primarily concerned with finding fault. No, it is not. I wish I hadn't written this. The days when an auditor, quote, entered the battlefield after the battle was over and bayoneted the wounded, doesn't work anymore, thank goodness. Not true. As you know, DAP are internal auditors. Yet, no longer Devon Audit Partnership, as you know, but Devon Assurance Partnership. This is not merely changing names for the sake of it. This transfers the focus from audit to the outputs and outcomes arising, Madam Mayor. A very significant change. Maybe something for us to consider at some point here in this council. Issues, risks will always remain, yet exploring solutions to those issues and risks, rather than simply pointing them out, naughty, naughty, tut, tut. No, no more. And a great example we've just listened to is item 13 on our agenda, the Code of Corporate Governance. This, why? Because it should strengthen the annual governance statement, removing many of the causes of potential concerns that the committee have on occasions. I would just very quickly like to make a quick shout out now, please, to all the officers implementing assurance procedures. Peoples, you are invaluable to this council. Please keep striving. And lastly, in this short time allotted, the accounts and audit regulations, the financial Bible of local government, and CIPFA, Chartered Institute of Public Finance and Accountancy and Science Guidance, brings the word effective to the fore. That word effective resounds on all professional guidance. It implies clarity, yes or no. In the ideal world, of course, no problem. We don't live in the ideal world, do we? So it's a little more complicated than that. Never mind, we can work at it, and we are beginning to work at it. We could move towards a yes it is, however type of state. That would be good. Rather than leaving it open, a clear yes or no. And this allies, of course, currently with the way internal audit issue their opinion. It can be done. This is a phrase we should purposefully search for and achieve. And on that note, Madam Mayor, without any jingle jangle, fellow councillors, thank you for your attention at this late hour.
Right, thank you, Councillor Penny. And this item is for noting and no vote is necessary. Move on now to item 16, which is an urgent decision taken by the Chief Executive. Please refer to page 225. This item is for noting and no vote is necessary. I move to item 17, Standing Order D11, in relation to overview and scrutiny, call-in and urgency. Please refer to page 277. This item is for noting and no vote is necessary. So can I say thank you to all members for your attendance today, and I now close the meeting. Very good. Do it on the table. Do it on the table. That's it. Closed. Thank you.